right, so before I get ready to introduce Dr. Umar Johnson, I just want to talk a little bit about the Israel Family Urban Farm. We're located in South Oak Park, and our mission is to inspire, educate, and employ the community, especially focusing on the youth. What we want to do is, just like Bobby said, we're starting an agriculture program called Project Good, which means growing our own destiny. And what that means is that we're going to take youth and we're going to teach them how to grow their own food, from seed all the way to the plate. And it's going to culminate with those youth then inviting their families over to our farm to show off their skills that they've learned, as well as have a meal from the farm with food that they've grown. So that's just a little bit about that. What I'm going to do now is he ready to go on right now? I mean, because if I'm going to introduce him, then... Okay, so my awareness of Dr. Umar Johnson came in 2011 with Hidden Colors. One of the first statements that let me know that he was on it was when he said that a person's self-esteem is based on their knowledge or lack of knowledge of their own racial history. Yeah. When he said that statement, I knew that he had been studying with the elders. But many times we get caught up in theory. And what cemented him in my mind as somebody who can be able to take theory into practice is when he started to talk about solutions at the end of the CD. One of which is that we don't provide enough services to our people. And while we talk about the church, and we talk about white Jesus, and we tear down those philosophies, we don't provide as many services to the community as they do. And so what that said to me is that we have to get serious if we're going to make a change in our community. So with that, I started to follow him even more, and of course those that have seen Hidden Colors 2 and Hidden Colors 3 see that it's been building. And it's been building to an idea to now it's time for us to do something. And that culmination has come with the FDMG Academy that Umar Johnson plans to open. And another thing that's very important about that is because we're not talking about college. He's talking about students that are young and all the way up and through high school, so that when you graduate from high school, you're already trained to do the things that you need to do in your communities. And that reminisces me back to the days of Booker T. Washington, who had an idea to start Tuskegee University. And so we need to be trained in order to create the types of things that we need in our communities. It can't be talk. It has to be talk, and it has to be backed up by action. Talk is not going to put a seed in the ground, and it's not going to harvest the food when the food is grown. If we want our children to be future revolutionaries, then we have to train them from the time that they come out of the womb, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And if they go away from that, and if they go astray, then they can't be blamed. It's our fault. It's either something we didn't do or something we didn't put in place. Right. Okay. Okay. All right. All right, so I got 4 minutes to talk now. Well, let me give you an idea. So first of all, many people asked about me when I came. I'm not here today. I'm not going to be here for Umar Johnson. There's a reason for that. Anybody familiar with CERT? Heard the name before? Yeah, I've heard of it. Okay, CERT. It's called the Citizens Emergency Response Team. What it is, it's a federally funded program where for free they teach you how to deal with a disaster. It's disaster preparedness training. And that's where I am right now. And it's amazing that nobody in this room knows anything about that. Because I'm in a class right now with 50 people. And guess how many of us are there? None. Just me. And the 2 brothers that are supposed to be there that are here helping out. So what I'm telling you is that our community is not prepared for a disaster. Our community is not prepared for if they cut off food, or we can't get to food. Electricity, water. I'm sitting here with people from Auburn, from Greenhaven, Pocket, Fruit Ridge, all these different places, and in the whole entire room, there's none of us there. I'm also very entrenched in food in Sacramento. I sit in the meetings where they sit and talk about how food is going to go into certain communities, who's going to get the dollars to determine what's going to happen with food in the communities. And guess how many of us are in those meetings?
None. One.
Only you.
Exactly what we need. And it's something that, when implemented, because it's going to take all of us to do something like this. As we find, many of our organizations have visionaries who come to the table with the solutions. But how many of them are funded completely and totally by our people? I know I'm a farmer. I know who comes to the farm to buy food from me. I know. So we have to now, and it's not always money. Everybody has skills. We have college people that have been to college that have skills. We have people that haven't been to college that have skills. So we have all of our people that are sitting in this room. There's $5 million in this room right now. The people that have the knowledge and the people that can work. It's in this room right now. All of the things that we need are in this room right now for us to take over Sacramento.
You're absolutely right.
But there may be some Muslims here. And there may be some people who believe in Egypt here. And there might be some Hebrews here. And somehow we don't all sit at the table as family. But that doesn't happen with Irish or Germans. It doesn't happen with Koreans. It doesn't happen with Chinese. They sit down and they build grocery stores. And whether you're a Chinese Muslim or a Chinese Christian or a Chinese Buddhist, they all shop at the same grocery store. So, it's time. African Americans for Balanced Health has brought these people, starting with some people that came from Hidden Colors, and now we're culminating here with Brother Umar Johnson. So, what I want you to do is I want you to give him a big round of applause. I want you, hold on, not yet. Give him a round in a minute. But I want you to be open to what he's saying, because he's telling you what we need to do to rise as a people. And then after he's gone, then we have to get together. We can't let it be that he comes and tells us and we don't move on it afterwards.
Right.
So with that, Dr. Umar Johnson.
I'm in Sacramento, ever. And I'm hoping that it's not my last. One thing that we're going to do here today before I leave is I want to make sure all of you guys sign up. When the new year came in, 2014, January 1st, I embarked upon a new initiative, the National Independent Black Parent Association, to organize all black parents and those who may not have children but who care enough about someone else's. Because in African culture, the children belong to the village, not the parents. You are only the vessel. They are not your children. Which means the community has a right to step in where you're not raising them accurately and effectively. Okay, so I'm saying that, so no one asks the question, can I sign up, but I'm not a parent? You are a parent.
That's right.
Okay? The Sacramento Independent Black Parent Association is going to comprise of 7 committees. And I want to explain them to you. Because in a minute, I'm going to pass around a sign-up sheet. And I want you to know what you're signing up for. I'm going to need your name, your phone number, and your email address. That's most important. Your name, your phone number, and your email address. What is also important, but you do not necessarily have to decide today, and that is which of the 7 committees you want to belong to, that you want to help out with. Now, some of you might say, I'm interested in more than one. First, you have to prove that you can do the work at one. Because black people are notorious for volunteering for things. Notorious for signing up, and notorious for being missing in action when it's time for a sign. So you can only sign up for one. You cannot sign up for 2. The first committee, and these are in no order, is the Special Education Committee. We need a Special Education Committee in Sacramento because too many of your black boys are being put in special ed for no reason other then the teacher doesn't want to be bothered with him.
Right.
So they're being thrown away into special ed jail, which is the missing link that is never talked about in the school to prison pipeline. Once they go into special education, they can be legally miseducated. Legally miseducated. In case you don't know, whenever a child goes into special ed, the school gets extra money. Special ed children are worth, on average, 100% more than the regular children. So you got a kid in 5th grade, Sacramento public schools might spend $8,000 a year to educate that child. Once he's misdiagnosed with a learning disability, or mild mental retardation, emotional disturbance, or ADHD, he's not worth $8,000 anymore. He's now worth $16,000. And they get that extra $8,000 each and every year that that child is in special ed. So here's my thing. For the children who are in special ed, and some of them do need it. Most of them don't, but some of them do need it. We have to make sure special ed is working for them. For those who don't need it, we got to get them the hell out. We got to have an underground railroad that busts our kids out of those bars of special ed and put them back in a regular classroom. So the special ed committee is going to do that. The first responsibility of each of the 7 committees is research. You have to collect the data. You cannot come up with a plan of action without the data. So we need to know how many black children are in special ed in Sacramento. Not just overall, but by school. School number 1, how many in special ed? School number 2, how many in special ed? How many kindergarten black boys go to special ed every year? How many 5th grade black boys go to special ed every year? And we have to do the same thing for the girls. Not only do we need to know who's in special ed, we need to know how much time they're spending in special ed. Are they a part-time student? Are they a full-time student? Or are they a pull-out child? Do we have children spending all day in special ed, which is against the law, if you cannot justify that? If your child has a math disability, they should only be in special ed for math. Okay. But your child is in special ed all day. Lunch, recess, gym, everything. That's against the law. That's called segregation. And we're going to talk about that because special ed is a legal form of segregation. But because it's segregation, you cannot isolate that child from the regular class with any more time than is absolutely necessary for that child to learn. So if you tell me that your child has a reading disability and you feel that that child only needs 2 or 3 hours of help a week, why are they spending 35 hours a week in special ed? So that's why we need a special ed committee. Very important. Next committee, school discipline. Too many of our boys are being suspended on a daily basis. Too many of you are being called to come and pick up your son early 3 and 4 times out the week. Being made to sit with your son in class, which is not supported by the law. After school detention, school exposures. The United States Department of Education just released a report a few months ago saying that black boys in kindergarten and 1st grade just broke a record. They have the highest expulsion rate for kindergarten and 1st grade boys in the history of the United States of America. So the question becomes, what can a 5 or 6-year-old child do? What can a kindergartner or 1st grader do to be kicked out of school for the rest of their childhood? We have to understand something. White supremacy doesn't put black people in groups. We're all in one box. And it doesn't divide our boys up into groups either. Whether he is 3, 13, 30, or 103, he will be treated like a man. And he will be made to suffer the consequences. So we have to make sure we're there to protect him. Unfair discipline. Why is he being tested for special ed for being 2 grades behind reading? When I look at his suspension record, I see he's missing on average 5 days a month on out-of-school suspension. That's why Raheem can't read, because the teacher never leaves him in the classroom long enough to learn how to. And then we got to get on you parents, because too many of you are using special ed as an excuse not to do your damn job at home. Special ed is your out. Special ed is your Social Security check. Special ed is your excuse not to raise your children effectively. Most of our kids don't have learning disabilities. They got lazy and sloppy as hell disabilities. Lazy and sloppy as hell, because in my house I don't do homework. I'm not made to read. My parents can care less. I come home without my books and I'm never even questioned as to why I don't have it. Yeah, I'm going to talk about white supremacy, but I'm going to talk about trifling ass black people too. Come on. Third committee, school finance. School finance. Sacramento Public Schools, that's a multi-million-dollar budget. Do we know where the dollars are going? Do we know specifically what the line item budget is for the Sacramento Public Schools this year? How much money goes to after-school programs? How much do they spend on contracts? By a show of hands in this room, who has ever had a contract with the Sacramento Public Schools? Nobody. So that you mean to tell me that your tax dollars funds the school system? and not a single black person can claim a contract, which means you got Asians and Latinos and white folks who live in the suburbs of Sacramento, who come in here every day and rob you blind in the name of providing services for your children. We got grandmothers running after-school programs, living hand-to-mouth. Hand-to-mouth. But yet the school district is boasting of a $3 million after-school programs budget. Why grandma ain't getting none of that money? And why we not making sure grandma getting none of that money? Half the black men in America are unemployed, but guess what? If one of you had the contract to clean Sacramento public schools' bathrooms, if you had the contract for every school to clean their bathroom, the average school has 6 people on the cleaning team. How many black men can you put to work for 2 or 3 years? So we have to look at how we are not sitting at the table of the contracts. Everything in a public school is a contract. The pencils, the paper, the printer. Some of you in here, you have that audio-visual technology. You could go into a school and wire all the cameras that they need for surveillance. How many black people have had that contract in the last 10 years? Who has the contract to get rid of the old and used furniture? Who has the contract to supply the toilet paper and the soap in the bathrooms? Everything is a contract. But let me say this. If we're going to change Sacramento public schools, if we're going to change it, it's going to require you to stop being lazy. Because one of the biggest problems we have is complacent and docile-ass black parents who don't do nothing to look out for their children. Somebody curse at your child, you'll come up to the school. Somebody put their hands on your child, you'll come up to the school. But you won't come and see about them F's on his report card. You won't come and see about the fact that he's cutting class and hooking in halfway through the day. A lazy black parent is no parent at all. If you're raising a black child, you cannot afford to be lazy because you know that that system, sooner or later, is going to want to make your child a statistic. Especially if you're raising a black boy. Especially if you're raising a black boy. 1 out of 2, half of them, at some point in their educational career, K to 12, is going to be referred for either special ed or ADHD. You know that new con game that Wall Street created in 1990? You get rich off single-parented black boys by pumping them full of the same drug that sent their father to jail. How hypocritical can that be? Wow. How hypocritical can that be? You locking black men up by the thousands for selling narcotics, and how dare you give his son the same damn narcotic that sent his father to jail, so he can sit still to be miseducated by middle-class white women who don't give a damn about his death. We talk about education, we talk about racism. We talk about racism. Why? Because public school was the last institution in America to desegregate. Are you aware that they desegregated the military before they desegregated schools? They desegregated buses and hotels before they desegregated schools. Schools that fully desegregate, still not today. But officially not until 1974, after the busing movement. That's what gave birth to special ed in 1975. We'll talk about that in a minute. But we have to track that money. Because if you start making the school district spend the money on the children, they'll stop putting them in special ed because it's no benefit to them. One of the problems I have with special ed is that principals can spend that money however they want. Wow. I know because I'm a former school administrator. In fact, I just resigned from another principal job last Friday because I couldn't take the nonsense. But the principal will get your child's special ed money and use it for the football team. They will get your child's special ed money and use it to get all their teachers brand new computers. Isn't it amazing that the special ed child get twice as much money and get a worse education? So we got special ed committee, we got discipline committee, finance committee. The next committee is policy. Policy. The policy committee is going to do what? They're going to investigate the policies in Sacramento public and charter schools. And yes, I said charter, because charter schools are public school, subject to the exact same rules. But I notice in the hood, charter schools do a good job, and I know because I've been administrators for charters and I'm a school psychologist of record for many of them. They do a very good job of making you think that they're private schools when they're not. That's your tax money running that charter school. Okay. And you need to hold them just as accountable because some of them are worse than the public schools. And the average charter school in America, being opened by a black or a white person, is being opened not to help our children, but to give the founder of the school an extra stream of revenue into their home. Absolutely. The charter school is an economic stimulus package for broke-ass white folks who can't find another way to make some money.
Exactly what happened here.
It's happening all across America. In fact, the charter school is the new face of gentrification. That's right. They want to take back the ghetto in Sacramento. You know what they're going to do? They're going to send a group of white folks in. They're going to take out a charter school application. They're going to go all through the neighborhood, tell the black people that we're going to open up a school to give your child a better education. But what they're not telling you is 99% of our employees will be white, just like us. And when they hire those 99% white employees, just like them, they're going to come from the suburbs, move into the ghetto of Sacramento, buy up all the abandoned properties, raise the property value. And in 10 years, the charter school that you thought was for black kids was for white people.
That's right.
The charter school is the new face of ethnic cleansing. So if you're going to support a charter school, you better know who's opening it. You better know the political agenda behind it. You thought it was for your kids. You black. Some of us think by doing a good job, white people forget you black. Some of us think that by having yellow skin and green eyes and straight hair, that white people forget you black. Some of us think that by marrying white women and dating white men and dealing with Asians and Latinos and everything other but Africans, that white folks forget you black. They will never forget you black. Policy committee. Policy committee is going to investigate the rules, not the laws, but the rules. What's the state capital of California? The state legislature makes the public school code. They make the law. After the state legislature of California in Sacramento makes the school code, they give it to all the hundreds of school districts across the state. Every school district takes the code, the law, and from the law they make their own policy. The policy is not the law. The policy is the spin-off regulation that the school district makes to implement the law. Are y'all following me? So that's why the rules in San Diego schools ain't the same as LA. The rules in LA ain't the same as Sacramento. The rules in Sacramento ain't the same as Long Beach, because every district has their own policy. And what I need you to know is that the policy is not the law, and if it does not benefit your children, you can change it. All right. So we need a policy committee that's going to investigate the rules to see whether or not it is state law, and the ones that are not state law, we need to occupy the next school board meeting and get a change. Let me give you an example of a policy. Your child lives on the west side of Sacramento. Straight A kid, but all the schools on the west side of Sacramento are garbage. The best school for your child is on the north side of Sacramento. So you go to the principal and you request a lateral transfer, academic transfer for my daughter because she's not being appropriately challenged in this school. The principal tells you we cannot do that because it is our policy, not the law. It is our policy, not the law, that children in Sacramento schools must go to school in their geographical neighborhood. That school is outside of your zip code. And because of that, she cannot go. Show me that in the state code. It's not there. That's a local rule they made up to keep certain schools all white and certain schools all black. You can change it, but we have to organize ourselves. Right. Stokely Carmichael Kwame Ture said what? If you organize a little, you can get a little done. If you organize some, you get some done. If you don't organize at all, you don't get shit done. And our problem is we talk too much. Too much Egypt masturbation, too much history masturbation, too much cultural masturbation, but you don't own nothing. Don't own a damn thing. But love to talk about what we were. The difference between the Pan-Africanists and everybody else is we're not interested in regurgitating where we used to be. We're interested in talking about where we're going to be. We don't want to study history, we want to make it. Come on. Come on. There's a big difference. We done turned our history and culture to another damn church. Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Now we go and get high on King Tut, sing hallelujah. The pyramids, who built this? We done mapped the damn stars and don't own a supermarket. You ain't got a job for your damn children. You don't have a hospital. You don't have an airplane. You don't got a submarine. You ain't got a damn thing we need in order to be self-sufficient. But you want to talk about how great the ancestors were. Teach. That's not going to get you out of this problem. No, sir. You're going to get out of this through hard work, and you got to do it yourself. There is no get-free quick scheme. That's right. There is no get-free quick scheme. Not running to Africa, not changing your name, not locking your hair, not accepting Jesus or Muhammad. You must do this yourself. Right. Yes. Next committee, homeschool. Yes. For the parents who are homeschooling your children. Because I can give you a couple horror stories about black homeschool. Right. Some of us declare homeschool because we really don't want to be a part of school. And because we don't really want to be interested in sending our kids to school we just declare that they're going to be homeschooled, so we ain't got to teach them at all. Oh yes, we can be trifling.
Yes.
And if you're going to homeschool your children, you need to be honest with yourself. Are you an organized person?
Right.
Because if you're not, you have no business homeschooling.
Exactly.
Do you have the discipline to put that instructional time in with your child? Because days can go by very quickly, and before you know, the whole barking period that went by, you ain't sat down with your child once. If you're too busy, you can't do it yourself. But what you might do is get one of these black teachers who's being laid off by the thousands, and get one of them to be your homeschooling teacher.
Yeah.
We have to build a homeschooling network because too many of us are doing it on our own with no support.
That's right.
If you got 20 parents in Sacramento who all want to homeschool their children, why they all doing it isolated? If we get organized, this brother might be language teacher on Monday. I'm going to do white supremacy on Tuesday. She going to do math on Wednesday.
You got it.
Sister Bobby do diet and nutrition on Thursday. Another brother or sister do farming on Friday. Somebody else do the sports on Saturday. If we work together, everybody only contributes a little. And everyone's needs get served. But we are so individualistic, we would rather struggle doing it ourselves instead of working together so everybody can benefit.
Gotta be a collective.
With homeschool, we got to make sure we got a curriculum that's working. We got to make sure we got assessments in place, because one of my criticisms of black homeschoolers, we ain't got no assessments.
Right.
One of my biggest criticisms of the Afrocentric homeschool movements who talk about they doing such a good job. Who's coming in to evaluate your progress? Because anybody can get on Facebook and talk a good game about how great they are.
Right.
But if you're giving out pictures of kids, that ain't telling me no academics. It's one of my criticisms of the Afrocentric charter schools. They hoodwinking the whole damn hood because they're giving out cultural instruction, which is important, which is relevant, which is necessary. But you talking all this drum beating and dashiki talking, but when I test your babies, they don't know nothing. Can't read, can't count.
That's right.
So black parents are in a quagmire because they got to decide, do I send my child to this racist ass white school for $20,000 a year where they're going to get a good education but be taught how to hate themselves?
Right.
Or do I put them in this Afrocentric drum beating school where they're going to learn everything about African history but can't even write their damn name?
Right.
That's a decision that no parent should have to make.
That's right.
That's the quagmire that so many of you are in.
Yeah.
I know because I get the emails on the phone call, Dr. Johnson, can you recommend a school in my city? Hell no, I can't recommend one in America. I'm just being honest with you. Because a lot of us get into the Afrocentric education game because it's a good marketing strategy.
Right.
Telling parents I'm going to teach their kids about history and culture is a good marketing strategy. But me being a school psychologist who comes in and tests the children, I see that they're not learning. You're doing a worse job than the white schools are doing.
Yes.
And then you use the same excuses for why your kids ain't learning. Well, the pants are sagging, the daddy isn't there. If you believe that the children can't learn, why the hell did you even open up a charter school? Oh, I forgot. It was an economic stimulus package. You wanted to hire your cousins and your friends and all your political partners. Schools are about everything except the children.
Yeah.
The public ones, the charter ones, and the private ones.
Yeah.
And that's why I want to build the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. Because we need that. Two more committees. Social committee. This is a committee of parents who are going to put on positive programs to support other parents. We have too many single moms out there struggling. They need help. We got single grandparents. We got single fathers out there doing the best they can, but we got to come together and show them a little bit more support. I'm getting sick and tired about single black mothers being blamed for everything that goes wrong. Every time something goes wrong, they want to talk about the damn mother. Don't blame the mother. Blame them lazy-ass black men who saw her struggling for 17 years to raise that boy and would get up off their ass to help that mother out. That's who you blame. It's the men who's supposed to raise them boys up, not the mother.
Come on now. That's right.
But a lot of us ain't interested unless we can get a cookie coupon. Quid pro quo. Last committee, parent advocacy. Very important. That means I got to come back to Sacramento and I need to train a group of you to be parent advocates. We're going to have our own parent advocates. Why? Because no parent should ever go to a school meeting by themselves.
That's right.
Come on. That's right.
You're talking to a principal and a school psychologist. You never go to a school meeting by yourselves. Because schools are like mafia groups. They will manipulate you, they will lie on you, they will bully you, they will intimidate you, they will make you think you don't know a damn thing about your child. And then you sign the paperwork. So you always take somebody with you, even black fathers. Because I get black fathers who say, I don't need nobody to go with me, brother. I'm not afraid of them crackers. I understand. What you fail to realize is once you raise your voice at that white teacher, she's going to say she felt threatened and you look like you were going to harm her. And then the principal is then going to put a restraining order against you. And you'll never be able to come into your child's school again. How many black fathers I know can't even go pick up the child's report card because they disagree with the white female, and she used the angry black man stereotype to block him from access to the school. So even you, black father, need to go with somebody else. You need somebody who can be a witness to the conversation.
That's right.
Because let me tell you how they do you. They bring you into a room all by yourself. You want to talk about Raheem's behavior. You think he needs medication. Not to mention schools ain't even supposed to be giving you advice about medicine because they're not psychologists and psychiatrists. So first we got to explain why black people letting white folks give them expert mental health advice. You're not even a damn doctor.
Thank you. Thank you.
They don't do that to white kids, but they'll do it to you. Oh, he has ADHD. Did you know it's illegal for a teacher to do that? You need to start writing letters of complaint to the superintendent and to the chancellor of education at the state level. Because even if you complain to the superintendent, it may never get to the state. So you got to write a second letter to the state. Whenever you write a letter, you carbon copy 3 people. The letter goes to the principal, never to the teacher. Remember, the principal is the legal supervisor of that building, not the teacher. Some of y'all spend too much time arguing with teachers. They don't make the call. The principal. And then you carbon copy the superintendent, and you carbon copy the state education officer every time you send a letter. You want the principal to know the superintendent will see this, and the highest ranking state ed officer will see this as well. Whether y'all call them the secretary of ed, chancellor of ed, every state calls their education officer something different. But that highest person, they always get a copy of your correspondence. That's how you keep people honest. Because they know there's other eyes looking at this. You always, and stop dealing with the schools through conversation.
That's right. That's
Pen to
right.
paper. Because the white teachers know how to talk to our children.
No, they don't.
They talk to them like dogs. That's why schools don't like parents popping in for visits. Because if you pop in unannounced, you might hear somebody saying something to maybe not your child, but somebody else's child that forces you to do something about it. So they always want to know where you come from. So we can look like we about education when you come from. But when you're not here, we run in a damn prison camp and train. Half the black boys in America in 4th grade can't read on grade level. Half of them. Half of them can't read on grade level. If they don't know how to read by the time they finish the 5th grade, there's a 75% chance they will spend some of their adult time in jail. Look at how they're engineering this whole situation. Half the black boys in 8th grade can't do math on 8th grade level. That's right. You know, black kids are allergic to math. Pull out a math book, they catch measles, mumps, rubella, polio, Ebola, everything. And why is it black kids are so allergic to math? You know why? Because math is the only subject taught in school that requires you to think. Everything else is memory and regurgitation. And so when you can get through every other class with memory and regurgitation, you get upset because why can't I just get through math with memory and regurgitation? Math requires you to understand the concept and you have to be able to apply it. It requires thought and analysis. And our kids have been dumbed down so much with the memory regurgitation model of education that they turned off from math because it requires me to do something I'm not used to doing. Think! That's why you got to turn the video games off in your houses. Get rid of the video game, this technological revolution. This technological, the video game and the iPad and everything else is dumbing our children down because time that would have used to have been spent reading, time that would have used to have been spent writing, is now being spent entertaining ourselves. So we got kids who listen to 10 hours of gangster rap music a day, 10 hours of video games a day. And some of you have no control over your children, so when you think they go to bed, they wait for you to go to bed, and they wake back up and keep on playing. They love the video game so much, you'd rather pee on yourself than go to the bathroom when you get the good part.
You got that right.
So getting back to the Parent Advocacy Committee, which is the last one of the 7. They'll bring a parent into a room, and then all of a sudden, talk about Raheem's behavior. They come in with 15 members of the school team. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. One black mother 15 members of the school team. The principal, the vice principal, principal intern, school nurse, school counselor, school social worker, school psychologist, math coach, reading coach, classroom teacher, basketball coach, bus driver, one mother, 15 school team members. You know why? To intimidate you. To bully you into thinking that because we have PhDs and our masters, we know more about your children than you. Listen to me. I'm an expert school psychologist, but I can never know more about your child than you could. You never relinquish your authority. You never relinquish your authority of your child to anybody. And too many of y'all do just that. They'll come in here and say something, well, I've been teaching black children for 20 years. I taught you, remember? And I'm appalled at the fact that you would even remotely suggest that I am a racist. I've been teaching in black schools since I came into teaching. That's because you couldn't get a job at a white school. Hello. And so you went in there to tell the school that you're not putting my son on no medicine. But now you got 15 white folks with a few Negroes telling you that you don't know what you're talking about. Your son really do need some medicine. And if you were a good parent, you would give him the medicine. And we know Dr. Johnson was here yesterday. And we agree with some of the stuff he says. But he's a big radical and extreme. What they tell you? When they start making you think, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. So you can do what? Sign that paper. And then when they think they got you right where they want you, guess who comes into the room? Queen Mother Kuji Chakalia from the Kwanzaa group. She worked. She's the parent liaison at the school. She'd have been to Africa. She come in with her shea butter and incense and shit. Every school keep a couple cultural Negroes on the paper. I'm telling you what I know. Because they know you trust them, you believe in them. And so Queen Mother Kuji Chakalia comes in here and says, yeah, I know you had a Dr. Umar lecture Saturday. But guess what? My grandson Raheem, he was on Ritalin. It wasn't that bad. He talked to himself sometimes, but other than that. My other grandson John, he was on Adderall and Prozac and Depakote. Dr. Johnson know what he's talking about. Now sometimes we catch him sleepwalking butt naked, but other than that, he all right. And so you listen to Queen Mother Kuji Chakalia, Stella ass incense. Child off on the special ed or ADHD, and then she tells you what? Guess what? If he start having problems, you just come on back, baby. Find me. We're with my Black History Club. Find me. And I'm gonna help you get your son out of special ed. But she don't have no authority in that school. None whatsoever. But because she's on the payroll, she does the master's bidding. You better be careful of cultural Negroes working for the school system. All right. You better watch. A Negro on the payroll isn't going to sacrifice their paycheck for the best interest of black children. Some will, most won't. So you come back a year later looking for Queen Mother Kuji Chakalia. Your son talking to himself, beating himself up in the mirror, losing a whole bunch of weight, don't want to eat no more, bleeding, nose bleeding for no reason at all. You come looking for her, Queen Mother Kuji Chakalia. I need you to help me get my son out. Principal says she ain't here no more. You ain't heard? She resigned, moved to Africa to open up a shea butter factory. So, what I want to do right now, Sacramento Independent Black Parents Association, special ed,
writing that into existence.
policy,
That's what I'm talking about. That's right.
discipline, finance, homeschool, advocacy,
Make that manifest. Put that on pen and paper. Yes.
and social.
Absolutely.
So, I'm gonna start it over here. Make sure y'all keep an eye on the book, because I know we got a few agents in here. Okay. I'll run off with my damn book. Every once in a while, we'll do a sign-up sheet to some city and get nobody finding at the end of the event. And I know some agents in here, because everywhere I go, they send 2 or 3.
A physician in New Orleans, Louisiana, and it was a disease that led black people to believe they had a right to be free. Any slave who ran away from his or her master was considered mentally ill, and the diagnosis was drapetomania. In other words, wanting to be free was a disease. If you don't believe me, do your research. I was in New Orleans speaking about 2 years ago, and I went to the museum, and guess what they had in the museum? This was only about a year ago. They had a full display of Dr. Samuel Cartwright's work on drapetomania. That was the exhibit in the museum. So if you think that white folks don't still have the same opinions of black folk today as they had 200 years ago, you're dead wrong. And guess what the cure was for drapetomania? Dr. Cartwright said to whip the living hell out of the slave. So that means Harriet Tubman and Sojourner Truth and Frederick Douglass, they had drapetomania. Nat Turner and Gabriel Prosser, Denmark Vesey, they were mentally ill. Why am I bringing this up? Because I want you to see what psychology does. The purpose of psychology in the American social order is to demonize any behavior that's considered threatening by the status. Cursing him out because you got to drive 5 hours to go visit him for 30 minutes in a damn cell. As if you had nothing to do with the fact that he in the cell.
Right.
Tell the truth. All right.
You don't take no break. Feel like when I see the mothers at the juvenile detention center. Oh, Dr. Johnson, can you write a letter to the judge? No. Because when his ass was out there running them streets, you wasn't looking for him.
Right.
When he wasn't going to school, you wasn't looking for him.
Right.
And then a white man has sucked him up, now you want to cry racism. How about let's cry trifling ass black parent and then cry racism? White supremacy might be our #1 enemy, but we are definitely his #1 accomplice. We go out of our way to help the system work better. Bougie ass Negroes. Bougie Negroes. Every community got a black talented temp. Elitist bourgeois clique. Some pastors and imams and even African cultural traditionalists who getting a grant from the mayor's office or a grant from the state rep. And so now they don't speak out against the ills of the community no more because they being financed to shut the hell up in the name of Jesus. In the name of Jesus. Hallelujah. Jesus. In fact, the religious bourgeois is the worst one. The religious bourgeois is the worst one because he takes your spirit and manipulates it. You show up to church on Sunday, some of y'all be there tomorrow morning. You show up to church on Sunday, and you go to church and say, yeah, we was at Dr. Umar lecture. I want to talk to the pastor. We got to change some things. I'm energized. I go to Reverend Hoop and Holler. Reverend Hoop and Holler, me and some of the people in the congregation want to talk to you because we've been giving you a lot of money. You got this nice mega church, and we ain't seeing nothing for our money. We need that conversation. And then he says, let's have the choir come. And then he go right to his book, his good book, and he go find a verse that can shut your ass up real fast.
That's it.
Be patient and let the Lord's work.
Hit him out the park.
And because you've been so conditioned, they start messing with you. You're like, damn. It's like kryptonite too. And then the choir get up there and they sing a couple remixes and shit. And by the time they done, all that revolutionary talk that went out the damn window.
That's it, bro.
I ain't got a problem with Christianity. I'm a descendant of church founders. Bishop Alexander Wayman, the 7th bishop of the AME Church, is my great-great-great-great-granduncle. No problem with the church. My problem is with the way we let some people use it for personal gain and satisfaction. That same Bible they use to put you to sleep, I can use it to wake you up. That same Quran kind they use to put you to sleep, I can use it to wake you up. So it ain't the religion. It's the manipulator in charge. And I don't know what the hell is going on with black boys on the choir. But you cannot let your son sing on the choir because there's an effeminizing agent in that church room. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I don't know what the hell going on in the church room. Put your son on the choir, he put that damn red velvet on, and get out there, he start Fruit Looping with the rest of them. If I'm wrong, tell me. When he came into church, he had swag. By the time he came out that mother. And we talking about the Roman Catholic Church. Look at all the black pastors molesting people. Look what Eddie Long did, and he's still the pastor down in Atlanta. He manipulated, molested them boys, and y'all still giving him the right to teach God's word? Come on, y'all. Molestation and indoctrination in the name of the Lord. I believe there's more devil in church than on the streets.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Because at least the devil on the street is honest about what they do. Here's my problem with religion. Here's my problem with black religion. Black people give the church, the mosque, the traditional African circles, collectively we give them about $3 million every Sunday nationwide. I'm going to say that again because some of y'all didn't know that. Nationwide, we give the religious establishment $3 million a weekend. Wow. With that type of money, we should have everything we need to be self-sufficient. That's my problem. We'll talk about how the Korean corner store raping us. We'll talk about how the Arab gas station is raping us. We'll talk about how the Jewish owned car dealership is raping us. We'll talk about everyone else robbing the hood. Except the preacher. Can I ask you a question? When you go to the corner store, it might be some dirty food you get, but you get something for your money. When you go to the gas station and get that Arab gas, it might be too high, but you still get something for your money. No matter what it is, you get something in return for your payout, but not with church. You pay your money and you know what you get in return? Hope, faith, freedom.
That's it.
You out your damn mind. This is what I want you to do. For all of y'all who think that's God's money, when you go to church tomorrow, this is what I want you to do. I want you to collect all the money for the pastor, go down to the middle of the pew, and call on the Lord and say, Lord, I'm about to cash you this bucket of cash. And whatever you want, you take, and whatever come back down, we're going to use it for the freedom struggle. Hallelujah. And throw that shit up and see how much the Lord takes.
Bring the pain, brother, bring the pain.
He said, you should have been a preacher. He said, you doing that Garvey talk, black people don't want to hear that. Put the damn robe on, Johnson. Put it on. And preach God's word, you'll have all the FDMG schools you want.
That's right, that's right.
And that might be true. But I can't live a lie.
That's right.
And I will not hustle my people. You're either going to support me or you're not.
Yes, sir.
Sign-in sheet still going around? Name, phone number, email, and put the committee you're most interested in if you know. If you don't know, you can leave it blank for now. I have them written at the top. And then there was another mental disease called nigritude. This was a real disorder. Diagnosed by Benjamin Rush. Some of you know that name. He was one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence, Dean of Medicine at Pennsylvania Hospital. This is during slavery times now. Benjamin Rush used to diagnose black people with a disease called nigritude. He said nigritude was a disease that rendered the African brain feeble-minded, like a gorilla or a chimpanzee. And he said the #1 symptom of nigritude was black skin. This is what he said. And he told white people not to touch black people or you would catch nigritude. If you touch the skin, it'll do something to your brain. There's been whole books written on this. I want you to see the racist history of psychology. Can I ask you a question? Guess who pitched on back of the DSM today? This is the current DSM-5. This is the Bible where we get all of our mental disorders. Guess who face is on the back of every one? Benjamin Rush, the father of nigritude. Why is his face still on the back? And this is a new one. This one just came out a few months ago. Why is that cracker still on the back? Because they letting you know we are still about white supremacy. Some of y'all don't believe me. There's a good book called The Politics of Schizophrenia. You know what it's about? It's about how during the Black Power movement they used to diagnose revolutionary brothers and sisters with schizophrenia and put them in a mental hospital instead of a prison. You know why? Because if you lock them up with a criminal charge, they have a right to a lawyer. They have a right to a speedy trial. They have a right to a jury of their peers. But if you lock them up with a mental disease and say this is for their own good, they don't have a right to a lawyer. They ain't got a right to a jury of their peers. They ain't got a right to a speedy process. So what they would do is diagnose the revolutionaries with psychotic disorder, lock them in jail for the duration of the freedom struggle. Why am I telling y'all this? Because y'all, some of y'all are getting crazy checks, playing crazy when you're not. Y'all know what the hell I'm talking about. Because everybody got one or two people in your family who acting cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs for $700 a month. Let's not get it twisted. But what they don't tell you, when you get that crazy check, there's a law that says anyone diagnosed with a mental illness who is not taking the prescribed medication can be arrested and put in a mental facility. Because see, some of y'all taking the crazy check, and what they're going to start doing, they're going to start giving you a urine test. And if they find that you're not taking the crazy medicine, they're going to crazy check, your ass going to jail. That's right. You thought you was playing them and they played you. Let me go a little bit further. Black mother, black father, you playing crazy for $700 a month? Uh-oh. You don't want your child in special ed, but they find out you're getting a crazy check? They're going to call the Child Protective Services, go and do an investigation. And they're going to conclude that based on your mental condition, you're not able to raise these children. We're going to take them and remand them to the state. And then they're going to give it to the homosexual couples to raise. Happening all over America. So keep on thinking you're getting over on white supremacy, playing crazy. They will always win in the end. You cannot beat him at his game. Play your own. Everybody looking for a learning disability. Are you aware that the learning disability is an opinion and not a fact? Do you realize that when I do my evaluation, the test does not diagnose your child? I want everybody to be clear on this. The test does not diagnose the child. It is the professional who does the diagnosis. All the test gives me is numbers. I have to make the professional opinion, educated guess, working hypothesis that I believe, based on the scores and the information I reviewed about this child, that he might be learning disabled. But can I ask you a question? Your son in the 5th grade reading on the 2nd grade level? Is it possible because he go to a trifling ass school? Right. Is it possible that he's been suspended so much he wasn't in school long enough to learn? Is it possible that because of his mom's economic condition she had to move around the city 3 or 4 times and he went to 3 or 4 different schools in only 2 years? Yes. Is that why? Is it possible that his teacher went out on maternity leave in January and that boy was stuck with 10 substitutes from January to June? Is that the reason why Raheem can't read, or is it because of some mysterious, invisible learning disability? Good question. But a lot of schools don't like to deal with me because I'm not good for money. Put his name in the computer, send it up to Sacramento, they send it to Obama, and I get my money tomorrow. This is a cash game. That's why the finance committee, working with the special ed committee, want to find out what is the special ed budget for Sacramento schools. Because you know what the first thing we're going to do? We're going to get every special ed kid their own damn computer for home usage. Come on now, talk to me. Yes. You get an extra $8,000 for these kids and none of it is going to the children? Oh, hell no. How about every special ed child is going to go to a summer reading program that costs $5,000? Come on, man, talk to me. See, if you start making them use the money on the kids it's supposed to be for, they stop looking for special ed because they can't run a racket no more. Right. That's so true. They won't be able to run a racket no more. Brothers and sisters, special education was created in 1975. Special education was created by an act of Congress in 1975. It was called the Individuals with Disabilities Education Improvement Act. Excuse me, that's the new one. It was called the Education for All Handicapped Children, EHCA, Education for All Handicapped Children Act, 1975. The federal government said that a child with a disability had a right to a public education, a free public education, and that child could not be put in special ed for any more longer than was necessary for that child to be able to learn. Now here's the question for the day. Was it a coincidence that special ed arrived in 1975? No. No, it was not. 1954, the Supreme Court said you couldn't use race in education. 1964, we get a civil rights bill. Lyndon Baines Johnson said y'all got to desegregate these schools. The school still wasn't desegregated. 1974, we get a nationwide busing effort that white people protested very violently. They threw bombs at the buses, beat the kids up on the buses, burned the buses. The United States government said this ain't looking too good. We in Vietnam telling the Asians how to treat Asians. And we in America, and we all over TV, and we don't even know how to treat black folks. We got to do something about this racial problem. We don't care about black folks either, but we got to stop this shit. So they said, what can we do to make these white school districts accept these black kids? It's been 20 years. 1954, 1974, schools still not educated, desegregated. And somebody woke up and said, how about we let the white schools tell them if you take these black kids in, you can resegregate them. But you can't say it's because they're black. We're going to give you some labels you can use. Call them reading disabled. Call them math disabled. Call them mildly mentally retarded. Call them emotionally disturbed. And then you can segregate them not because they're black, but because you believe they can't learn. And guess what else we're going to do? For every child that you resegregate, as an extra incentive, we're going to give you $8,000 extra. Special education was the resegregation law. And that's why some of y'all, I keep telling you, I say, Dr. Johnson, Sacramento inner city schools is trash. I'm going to move to the suburbs. I'm going to put my child in a white suburban public school. You done lost your damn mind. He's going to get a worse miseducation. You say, how can he get a worse miseducation when these kids got the best test scores in the state? You're right. Those kids, not your child. Your child can sit in the same class with 30 white kids and still be miseducated while they sitting right next to them. The worst thing you can do is put a black child in a racist ass white school. You don't do that. Your girls will be taught how ugly they are. And your boys will be taught how great white men are. And that's why the average black who graduated from a white school is a stone cold ass sellout, because they've been conditioned. And then some of y'all brag about, well, you know my child goes to the $20,000 a year Quaker school. He's at the Mennonite school, praising white Jesus and every damn thing. No, I know the hood ain't good with instruction, but if I got to choose between my child being taught to hate themselves versus being miseducated, I can educate them myself, but I will not be able to undo the self-hatred. So y'all need to be real careful about sending y'all children to white private schools. If you feel you have to do it, it should not be done before the child knows who they are. That means what? I will not put a black child in a white private school before middle school. Absolutely not. I will not put a kindergarten, first, second grade black child, especially if they blue, black, beautiful, purple with a nappy head. You don't do that. You don't do that. Every day your daughter go to school, she's going to see what she's not like. And by the time she's 14, she's going to want green eyes, blonde, wig, weave, and everything else, because mama paid for me to be taught to hate myself. How much did your mama pay for you to be taught to hate yourself? $20,000 a year. And somebody said slavery was over. Wow. This is why we want to build the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy. 6 sciences we're going to teach. Agricultural and agronomical science to teach our children how to grow food, how to sustain life, how to make a living being a farmer. International food distribution. That's what we're talking about. Then we're going to teach them political and military science. That means they're going to understand what white supremacy is and what it is not. They're going to understand why churches get so much money and do nothing with it. They're going to understand why we got a homosexual war against black boys. They're going to understand why half the black men in America are unemployed. They're going to understand that AIDS and Ebola was manufactured by the United States Army Bioweapons Lab in Fort Detrick, Maryland, with a grant from the Rockefeller World Population Council. They're going to know that the reason they pushing homosexuality is because homosexuality equals black population control.
That's right.
You don't understand that if every man in this room decided to only be with men, his ancestors never regenerate? Do you understand that if every woman in this room says, I'm only going to live with another woman, your ancestors never regenerate? This ain't about sex, it ain't about love, it ain't about culture, it's about getting you the hell off this planet. And you falling for it. And you falling for it. I don't hate no black homosexual or lesbian. I can disagree with the lifestyle and still validate the life, because I know most of our kids practicing gayism and lesbianism, only doing it because a lot of us don't know how to pick and choose our babysitters. Sexual molestation triggers that shit in black kids. I'm a therapist, I can speak. I don't need to do no research studies. Let's see what the white people said in their fucking research study. I'm giving you the truth. We've done studies. We've done studies. We've done studies. I've done face-to-face therapy, 15 years of it. Nearly every black homosexual boy I ever worked with was touched. Most of my lesbian girls sexually abused. When a girl gets raped or taken advantage of by a man, it can trigger a hatred for all black men. When a boy gets molested by a man, it's something about the first sexual act of a male child. When it's with another male, he will still crave it even though he hates it. And that's why black male homosexuals have one of the highest suicide rates in America. I'm not going to beat them up. I would never do nothing like that. I'm not going to derate them because I understand it's an illness. But there ain't a black person walking this country who ain't ill in some form or fashion. We all got a psychosis. You all got a psychosis, so I'm not going to beat them up. But they got to understand that I will not let you promulgate this lifestyle because it is not in the best interest of our people or our children. I got 3rd and 4th graders. 3rd and 4th graders talking about I'm gay. Can't even spell the damn word. Dr. Johnson, I'm a lesbian. 3rd grade! You're not even old enough to be sexually attracted to the opposite sex yet. You know why? Because they get it on Disney now. You know why? Cookie Monster, not the one we talked about last night, but the other Cookie Monster. Sesame Street got it in them. There's an all homosexual channel on cable now. I didn't even realize it. Last month I was in a hotel. Did y'all know that? They got their own channel. Nothing but gay programs. Yes! You haven't heard they got a homosexual Bible now. Yes! In June, a homosexual Bible just for gay people. I don't want to see them pictures, but anyway!
Damn.
And that's why you have to stop being ashamed to say that you're proud to be a heterosexual. Because the gay people are affirming it with pride. They saying I'm gay and I'm proud. And black heterosexuals are scared hiding under tables and shit. I don't want to say I'm proud to be straight because that ain't popular. We never got where we got with being popular. Dr. King wasn't popular. Malcolm X wasn't popular. Garvey wasn't popular. Mr. Muhammad wasn't popular. Medgar Evers wasn't popular. You do what needs to be done. It's called character. It's called dignity. It's called principle. You don't adjust your principles to the world. And that's one of my biggest issues with the black church. 50 years ago, you couldn't talk no gay stuff in no black church. Now you got Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson. Everybody, well, it's up to them.
Woo! Beat him up, King. Beat him up.
Being gay is civil rights, and now the gay struggle that took over the black civil rights struggle, and we sitting there acting like we don't even see. Had a damn magazine talking about something. Is gay the new black? I'll be damned.
I'll be damned.
Is gay the new black? That's why in 1973, homosexuality was in this book as a mental disease. If you don't believe me, you can order an old copy of the DSM-4, 4th edition. You will see homosexuality and lesbianism in this book as a mental disorder. They took it out in 1974, the year I was born. Same year that the first documented cases of AIDS was discovered. Because they had a strategy of population control. Let's deregulate being gay as a mental disease, make it a normal form of life. Push it in the black community, contaminate the gay males with the AIDS virus, and they will inject it into their women. And that's why AIDS is the #1 killer of heterosexual black women on the face of the earth, 38 to 58 years old. So you can't tell me, I know why they pushing this stuff. I'm not against it because I hate them brothers and them sisters. I know that this is a strategy about white folks. The main people financing the gay struggle ain't even gay. They just don't want you around.
Damn.
Wake up, brother.
Beat him up, King. Beat him up.
We still got black people running around talking about something. I have a white friend. Let's deal with this dumb shit for a second. I got a white friend. This is what you need to understand. Racism is a system without emotions. It has nothing to do with a white person's particular disposition towards you. It is a group system. So even if the white person, quote unquote, likes you, at the end of the day, their loyalty will be with their in-group.
That's right.
Y'all need to understand that. There's too many of y'all falling for this white friend shit. All my friends are this and all my friends are that. Nonsense. Remember James Byrd in Jasper, Texas, who got dragged until his neck came off his head. Do you know that them white boys was his friends?
That's right. I knew that. He was hanging out with them. That's right.
I heard of this black guy one time. He was a supervisor on his job. He became friends with his subordinates. He decided to take them out. They would go out, hang out, drinking. So when he took these white men into his house, they became jealous and envious at the success that he had. They went back to the job with an agenda to see to it that he was removed from the job. Within 30 days, one of them was in his job and he didn't have one. Your white friends. I don't care about your individual relationship with white folks. That has nothing to do with the political power struggle between the races. And y'all need to understand that. That's personal. This is political. And at the end of the day, that white person who you love so much might treat you with respect and treat other black people like shit. That's right. That's right. You too, black man, with your white, ugly wife. Damn, I love not being owned by no white folks. I love to be able to travel the world and say what the hell I want when I want to say it and how the hell I want to say it. I'm glad I work for my damn self. Hallelujah. Where's the black Jesus? Bring the price.
Freedom, boy. That's freedom. That's freedom.
Damn white women in front of our sisters like this, disrespecting them on a daily basis. And you got a nerve to not even speak to the sister when you with a white woman. And so when them cops whip your ass, she the first person you go running to for some consolation.
Come on, say that.
And then when y'all get them white women, y'all don't even get the cute ones. They be the nasty ones. They ain't cute about it, no shape, no nothing. They look like a damn cardboard box from U-Haul. Nothing going on for them. Can't cook. No paprika, salt, jerk, seasoning, none of that. Talking about this my wife. And they ain't got no collagen in their skin, so by the time they get footy, they be pucking like a damn turkey. Neck hanging, 3 necks. Don't nobody age like no black woman. Black woman be 50 looking like she 30. Because she got that melanin, that collagen, you would go get some white woman. You know why you dating that white woman? You dating that white woman because you wish you was a white man. You have an insecurity complex. Deep down inside, you want to be a crack at your damn self, and so you decided to settle for the cracker's greatest treasure, his woman. And you fail to realize that the only white women you can date is the ones the other white men don't even want. You get the leftovers. And you sisters, I heard some of y'all getting liberated. You dumbass. Listen. The only thing you can ever be to that white man is a sexual toy.
That's it. Wake us up.
White men are taught, they're raised this way. I went to school with them. They're raised with the belief that you gotta have sex with a black woman. You gotta have that jungle juice. And that white man will make you think he loves you. He will make you think he's your queen, sex you up, have you do all types of things that you regret for the rest of your life, and drop your ass like a bad habit. I speak from experience because you'd be surprised the amount of women who confess to me. I was engaged to a white man, and one day we got into an argument. He called me a black bee. Told me he would never marry me.
Wow.
You're never to him what his white woman is to him.
Wow.
Most of the rich white men only marry black women anyway so they can use you to get all the minority contracts, you idiot.
Oh,
That's right.
wake us up, brother.
That's right. Rich black man with a poor black woman. Minority contract so he can send your ass to City Hall and get all the contracts for him. And then once he's done using you, he go and get his real wife. You the wife on paper, but you ain't the real one.
Wow.
Why you think them Chinese all in Nigeria right now marrying our Nigerian sisters? Them Chinese men ain't in love with no Nigerian woman. They doing it because they know that if they have those children will be natural citizens of Nigeria. And through those sons, they will be able to conquer the whole country. They did it before, and now they're about to do it again, because you want to be multicultural. Well, guess what? Ain't shit multicultural about me. I am 100% unapologetically African, red, black, and green, Pan-African Nazareth, Cardiac, and I don't give a shit what y'all sell out. I am your people, I am for nobody else.
That's it. That's
You
it.
will love everybody else except your own people.
Told you, brother.
Right.
I ain't told none of y'all to hate nobody. You don't even try that. Some of y'all will go, yeah, he was teaching us to hate. What one thing that I said that I told you to hate?
Not one thing.
Not a thing.
Love yourself.
Love yourself.
Ain't it funny? Jews can come together with nobody in the room but Jews. They not racist though.
Yes.
You can't get into a damn Chinese community meeting, but nobody racist. The Italians by themselves, Irish by themselves, East Indian, Native American, and soon when you have an all-black event, we being racist. But here's my question. Why the hell you worrying about public opinion?
Ashe.
How the hell you want to change your reality worrying about public opinion?
Ashe.
Do you really think the newspapers are going to be favorable to anything you do? And that trifling ass media, you know their responsibility is to do what? Dictate public opinion.
That's right.
When they killed our brother Michael Brown in Ferguson, the whole world was locked on Ferguson. United Nations Human Rights Department had to review the Ferguson case. So I support those brothers and sisters who revolted down in Ferguson because they made it to the UN.
Right.
First time black folks stood up in a significant way against police brutality since Rodney King.
Ashe.
I commend what they did. But the media said, oh shit, we got a problem because now the United Nations is reviewing whether or not black folks are having a civil human rights violated by the United States. So the United States government said we got to get the attention off first.
Right.
So they got with the media, CNN and C-SPAN and all that shit, and they said, this is what we gonna do. To get the attention off that killer cop, we're gonna put that shit on the NFL athletes who beat their women and children.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
We want to put it on who the running back for the Vikings? Adrian. Let's put it on Adrian Peterson. And then all of a sudden they start finding all these black men beating their wife and beating their children, but what about all the white athletes who do the same thing? Last time I checked, Ben Roethlisberger of the Pittsburgh Steelers raped a woman twice. He raped her twice and got suspended for 3 games.
Ashe.
And kept his indoor.
Y'all taking their whole life away from him.
Ashe.
Michael Vick killed a couple damn dogs.
Yeah.
Y'all killing men on the street and walking scot-free.
Ashe.
Look what they did to Kwame Kilpatrick, mayor in Detroit.
Yes.
Had an affair with his wife, lied under oath. Bill Clinton did the same shit. Didn't do a day in jail. And they take Kwame's whole legal practice. Even when he get out of jail, he can never be a lawyer again. Equal protection under the law.
Ashe.
I got a crusade going on. I just started this week. You know what it is?
Ashe.
I don't want no black child saying the Pledge of Allegiance in school ever the hell again.
Thank you very much. Ashe.
No more.
Love that one.
No more. Now, I know we got a couple scared Negroes in the room. I'll be reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. If you could please let the teacher know so she's not caught off guard. He will stand out of respect, but he will not recite. Thank you very much. Principal calls you up. Can you explain this to me? I don't have to. That's why it's called a right.
Ashe.
Lunchtime.
Okay? I have a problem with, as I wrap up, I have a problem with black boys putting their hand on their heart. And black girls putting their hand on their heart, pledging allegiance to the same country that not only raped and plundered their ancestors, but killing them on the streets today. Unemploying their parents today, injecting their mothers with AIDS today. There's 180 days in the school year, y'all. Times 13 years, kindergarten plus 12. That means your child pledges allegiance almost 13,000 times in their life and never once pledged allegiance to his own community. Stop letting your children play. Go home, talk to them about it. Tell them don't go to school making no big deal about it because it ain't that type of thing. This is just something we're doing as a family. We do not pledge the flag no more in this damn house. And make it meaningful, y'all. We got to start doing some things to let people know that we ain't going for this shit no more. Sometimes you got to take a stand. Sometimes you got to say enough is enough and I don't give a damn of the consequences. I'm going to be a man as God made me or a woman or suffer the consequence. Sometimes you got to get a little Nat Turner in you. Sometimes you need a little bit of Harriet. Sometimes a little bit of Shaka Zulu and Ya Asante is just what the doctor ordered.
That's right. Say that.
We can't keep being scared. We got to be smart. Everybody don't got to be out front like me. I just happen to be, you know, the one with the microphone. But we got to be organized. So we about to take our break. We're going to come back. I'm going to look and see what I want to give y'all next. I got so many.
Beat him up, King.
I'll make that decision after the break.